we believe we will see the end of this year by the special grace of God. As usual on this program, we have the family segment, we have the religious segment, the health segment, political segment, all the segment put together to keep you informed, educated, and sometimes even entertained. Okay. All right, this morning we'll be looking at, on our family segment, we started last week, we're looking at anger. Wow. There's a lot of vexation in the city and even in the country. Yes. You see people are easily provoked, and some people kill in the aspect when they are like really vexed. We'll be looking at it this morning, and what are the causes of this extreme anger? Can it be managed? You need to take tablet for this, because sometimes we're wondering what's all this kind of anger all about, where sometimes the wife kill husband, husband kill wife, children kill parents. Come on now, we don't need this in our society. And we have our usual,
even colleagues in the office killed colleagues
killing Peggy. Wow. All right, it has not come to that too. We can backmat, we can backstab, but killing, no, not now. It will not come to the office segment.
No, it's true. They do.
Okay. All right. We have our own usual family segment guest with us, Pastor Rich Rusbane. It's good to have you this morning. Okay. And we have a doctor with us because it's important. I promise that we'll bring in a doctor for you this morning. And here he is, Dr. Osaitin over here from Selu Psychiatric Hospital, calling Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Benin City. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Okay, let me go to Pastor Rich Rusbane. Let's like re-echo what we said last week, talking about anger. That how can you manage anger within the home setting? Between when you have a relationship with people, when you are vexed, somebody like provoke you, you are pissed. How can you manage it?
Yes, just like we discussed last week, is an emotional expression. Just like you get people at some instances, you're very happy, you're like wow, and then you're just happy. Also, there are times you are angry, and like we just said last week, it's something you can control. But there are some instances where it's beyond your control. That's why I'm very happy we have the doctor in the house, where he's going to be sharing with us that aspect where it is really beyond you. But for us, we are saying for that part where you can control it should not get to the extent of you taking lives. It should not get to the extent of maiming somebody. It should not get to the extent of being married but divorced. There are persons who are married but they are divorced. There's no communication. You just say your food is there. In fact, there's no response. You just go and eat. And just like that, there are couples that live like that. And we are saying it's a no. Because the year is coming to an end gradually, just like they said. And you have to intentionally change about this thing. Be decisive about it. And our God Almighty, when He sees how serious you are about it, He will help you. And you just see yourself getting over it. Because, like I was telling somebody, I used to be like that. I remember those days where, I'm sure it happened to you too, maybe you're trying to lit the kerosene stove, and then it's not lighting the way you want, and you just fling it, you just pour the kerosene away, you fling the whole thing, the kerosene is play on the floor, and you fling the separate bodies into separate direction. I think that's another kind of anger, another kind of madness that happened to some persons. But you can equally change. Like I changed, you can change too.
Okay. Dr. Saitin.
I was going to, that last week, I'm trying to ask a question.
Okay, yes, that last week.
When somebody is very angry at home, then coming out, facing everybody with that same anger at home. How do you see such behavior?
Peggy, please. Let's we'll come to you, but the doctor is around. There's a particular place I read in the scripture said anger rests in the bosom of fools. So, Doc,
and fools die before their time.
Okay, Doc, can you just put it in a very let's understand what anger really is. Can you just let us understand better? from the medical perspective,
Yes.
or what? Let's just understand.
From the medical perspective, anger have different ways we look at it. But basic thing about anger is that this person has an experience, and then he has experienced something, and his reaction is now what you would call hyper or excessive, above what the general populace would normally consider as normal. It's like going to the park and you see the Agberu shouting and doing all the others. You may think they are normal, but among themselves, that is their normal way of life. You don't consider those ones as hyper. So when you are talking about this anger, you are talking about the general tone of the society. Now let's come to think about it, how people react and what are the various causes of it. One, there are individual factors, upbringing factors. Okay, you have been told, you have been trained, you have been brought up to react to negative experiences that are not in your own particular way. And then you get to an environment where it is not considered normal, and you keep on doing the same thing. They consider it as... It's just like the first time I went to Lagos and I saw those boys shouting, yeah, yeah, yeah. And now are they quarreling? They said no. My wife came to Benin too and saw people talking. Now say, are they quarreling? You now see them shouting. After they start laughing. Now say, what are they doing? Because you can't hear the language. He said, I said, no, they are not quarreling. No, they are just playing. So I had that same experience when I went to Lagos for a while. Saw them speaking. So most at times we say communication difference. The one we mostly are talking about now is when it becomes hyper and leads to abnormal reactions. You spoke about the husbands killing wives, wives killing husbands. So that's where we want to really dwell on in the medical sense of the word. Because we will not medicalize day-to-day responses. It's not we just like talking about. There are a lot of causes in our environment that can cause this. One, the use of hard drugs. Hard drugs. This, when people smoke or drinks, there is a loss of normal inhibition to the everyday activities. A person have smoked or he drank somewhere, came back and poured his venom on his wife, or he went to smoke, come back, start beating his mother or his siblings. So in fact, even among those that are mentally ill, where they say that mental illness is associated with violence, it's not normally true. But what they've realized is that those that use drugs have more tendency to be violent or aggressive, uncontrolled rage. Then what about those that have psychological disorders like schizophrenia, hearing voices, communicating to them, telling them this person wants to kill you, this person wants to do something to you. Now you are not hearing them. Sometimes you ask some relations, do you see this your person sometimes sitting down talking to him or herself? You say, yes. You could really, so that's one sign of knowing that this person is hallucinating. So if you see such people prone to anger, it may be due to the voices they are hearing. There's no way I will sit here comfortably if I'm hearing voices telling me confidently, in confidence that two of you wants to kill me or you are holding a knife there that will fall back.
Okay, doctor, you have to pause this because we are going for the morning news. Okay. When we come back, we're going to continue with this conversation. Please don't go away. Okay. All right, thank you for staying connected. It's Daybreak, Tuesday's edition, reaching you live from a dual broadcasting service, Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. And we are on the family segment, and this month we are looking at anger. And we have our resource persons. We have Pastor Rich Respect once again. Ma'am, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, we have a psychiatrist in the house because some anger is like beyond reasoning. Dr. Saitino from Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Luselu, Benin City. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, Peggy, should I still introduce you? All right. Okay.
Can go ahead.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to Dr. Saitino. We're looking at from what you said earlier. You said anger have degrees. Yes. Like you have the one in the motor park, you have the one some people went chatting, and you have the one that is extremely like high. Explosion. And that's what we are looking at this morning. Talking about that extremely high, how do one know that, I'm getting to this high kind of anger and I should like put stop on it?
Well, usually most times it's an action and a reaction. When your anger is becoming abnormal, the people around you definitely will tell you. If you have a sense of belonging or you have a relationship with those around you, they will tell you it's becoming up. Like I used to tell, we have to go down to what causes the anger in individuals so that we can be able to detect those which are abnormal and pay attention to it. Well, earlier in the morning we were talking about anger as a result of drug abuse, use of substances. It's not unusual for us to be in psychiatric hospitals and see people being brought on chains. They are brought on chains, tied both hands and feet. And they will tell you because he's using drugs, he's just suddenly becoming violent and it's uncontrollable anger. Like we also said, when you see people some people with schizophrenia, they can show some levels of anger, but most of the times, although it's not usual with schizophrenia, but occasionally some could be unpredictable when the voices they are hearing on their head, others around you. Like I used to, one of the signs you know is that you see the person talking to him or herself, or we tell you, can't you hear people talking there? Those are signs that some of these actions that you may take, this anger may not be necessary. For couples at home, these are the family segments. There's what they call pathological jealousy. That is the jealousy that's common sometimes in couples. It's not unusual for you to have read recently on news because there was a major article, I think I read it in Guardian, where a journalist actually went out and were picking spousal killing, husband killing wife, wife killing husband, and they picked out a case of up to about 10 in the space of 2 years. We've heard about some happening in Benin here. Let me not mention names. How a woman, a lawyer, killed the husband, cut off the penis, and was holding his hand and said, "You cannot." Or you hear about the one that happened in Abuja, where the wife killed the husband and the mother came and all. So
the one in Jeju also.
Yes, those things are jealousy. And if you come to find out, actually, in pathological jealousy, you just have the feeling that your spouse is not faithful, so you are suspicious of all the moves. And there are a lot of women in the houses now who are going through this, and because the man or the woman in their day-to-day living are doing well in other aspects of their life, people don't really see it as a problem. But the major thing is that it's the spouse at home that bears the brunt. So most of the time you now see the anger just welling up, and sometimes you just start beating up his wife, or the woman making the life unbearable for the man just because he went to the office and when he was coming back he carried the female colleague in the car. So the woman can be as terrible as that. So it's not in my own experience, it's not a case of just the men alone being jealous of their wives. There are terrible cases of women making life unbearable for their husbands, so with anger, violence, which could result in spousal killings. And so it doesn't make sense. This guy appeared normal. He's working in the bank, he's a doctor, he's this, and he's doing well, but yet the wife or the husband at home is bearing the brunt of it because they have an abnormal belief. This also, we will now talk about, there are some mood disorders. People are depressed. Okay, and some people that are depressed could actually show outbursts of anger occasionally, and some patients could be manic. Okay, and so usually when sometimes we see the individual, want to look through the history. How did it start? Has he always been like this? Okay, if they tell you that this person has always been like this, we'll now start taking a personality issue.
Person.
Yeah, personality individual, or bringing and all the others. But if they all tell you we noticed about 3 years, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 months ago, this thing changed, then we start looking at what made the individual to change. That's the important thing about it.
Okay. Let's go back to what I now said.
Okay.
How do I know that, I'm going beyond the normal?
Well, the easiest way to know that you are going beyond the normal is to listen to those around you. Okay. I remember one day I just got home I started smiling. I was playing. My daughter said to me, "Daddy was not angry today." I said, "My daddy was not angry today." I said, "What happened?" Because they did some things they know I would just be angry about. But that day, I just said, I will not talk about them. Let me go. I had some things on my mind. So when I didn't talk, then I said, "Daddy was not angry today." I said, "For what now?" And I went by, I saw the things I saw. Right, another day. So sometimes by paying attention to people's response around you, you are able to gauge, you assess your level of anger, whether it is normal or not. I told you about even if you just go to maybe a setting of this Agbe or some group of people, and this person, they did something, I did not shout, I did not respond. Others go and tell him, what's wrong with you? They do something to you, not even shout, you never talk about, because in that environment, it is not normal to be normal.
Yeah.
They expect you to be hyper.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you understand.
Yeah.
So the environment will coach you. So when you are at home, it's like there are certain things you do at home you don't want to do in church. There are certain things some women will do in the market, they can't do it in church because the environment also matters a lot. But actually, the most important thing is that you know your level of anger is abnormal when there is always a tendency to do some wicked acts.
Okay.
You don't need to even wait for somebody. There's a tendency to do some wicked act. You feel like taking a stick and breaking somebody's head. You feel like carrying the cutlass and doing some terrible things. That should tell you already that you are going abnormal.
They wrote about somebody just a little thing just trigger the person.
Little provocation.
Any little thing just trigger the person.
It's hereditary.
You understand?
They say it runs in our family.
Is it normal?
Like I said, upbringing is important. Okay, but then let's come to think of it. In my family, we fight, we quarrel, we shout, and then I come to office, EBS office. There's somebody that I now start fighting, I now start shouting, and I quarrel. That's no longer normal. We must get the context right. It's no longer normal that you do it at home in your family and you now carry it to your office. Means that, and you can't still control yourself. It's no longer normal. We must not excuse illnesses. Like I used to tell people that in our environment, one of the major problems we face is this: until the person who clothes throw away. Let me use the word. Until the person goes naked on the streets, or he carries cutlass to attempt to injure somebody, they don't usually see it as a psychological illness. They don't usually see it as a mental problem. There are some people you will be telling the relatives, this thing is not normal. I believe until what they are just waiting for is until. Or sometimes we spiritualize some. Some they will say, oh, it is the friends, the enemy, it is this and I guess no problem. We don't have any problem with that. But first and foremost, bring him for treatment. So that's one thing we used to say. Even when the person himself is telling you, it runs my family, that's sometimes a cry for help. Because he is recognizing that it is not normal. For him to well, that's what they do for our family, but he's actually crying for help, telling you that they do it in your family does not mean it is normal. Those unusual rage, unusual violence, unusual tendencies. Yeah, there are some families where it is common, but it is not, which is not to be taken outside to be normal. So those people should seek for help. There are several ways the doctor will evaluate. Many a times they will call in the clinical psychologist to evaluate this individual, personality assessment, anger management therapies, and those that we can place on medications will place on medications, and most of the times the individuals do well.
Okay, there are some.
You were saying, anger is not a mental illness.
Anger on its own is not a mental illness per se. But we have to look around at the environment. You see, we don't make a diagnosis of mental illness based on one symptom.
Okay.
You must get that clear. You can't make a diagnosis of a man, or sometimes two boys are just fighting on the street. One just pull off his shirt, pull off his trousers, pull off his pants, say I want to fight. Then they now bring him and say he's mentally ill. Has he done that before? Say no. Did he wear his cloth back? Say yes. Has he ever done anything abnormal? So we don't just regard it just because of one single episode or one single act of an individual to make a diagnosis. You look at the individual's life holistically. How is he coping in the society? We talk about, is there a deterioration in his social, occupational, and personal, social functioning, occupational functioning? Is he still doing well? How about his relationship with others? So in his individual life, is he feeling a sense of distress, or those around him are in distress? So you look around at all those things, and we don't, diagnosis in mental health follows a set of symptoms to make certain diagnosis.
All right, we are in this part of the world where people believe on this superstition that, for instance, when you see a lady that is really like hyper, she's easily provoked, they will say this is marine that is like disturbing, and some will sick, they'll go to church. So what I'm trying to say, can church do everything? Sometimes when you see a lady that is like always angry, and when she's angry she can just break bottles and do everything, or she goes to the hospital for this anger therapy we're talking about.
Well, I tell people, I as a pastor, whenever I have the opportunity to talk to my fellow pastors, I take pain occasionally to educate them. Yesterday I was talking to a woman who had symptoms of depression, feeling unhappy, losing interest in the things that she used to enjoy, in fact losing interest in life, occasionally having guilt feelings, at night could not sleep. They said they went around. Actually, one of the major problems we also know is this: if they go sometime to general hospitals, some of our doctors are not able to pick depression at that early stage. Some doctors are not able to pick it, or some doctors don't want to stigmatize the patient to say, oh, go and see a psychiatrist. So sometimes they will give them paracetamol, so they will give them low dose antidepressant, which is not effective. So when they go from one private hospital to the other, they've been to 3 private hospitals without relief. They now believe that it is spiritual. This woman told me that she was in church for 8 months throughout last year until she started getting better. And I said, you were inside the church? I said, yes. So the pastor was praying for me, and they were doing that for me. And after about 8 months to 9 months, in fact, throughout the lockdown in 2020, she was inside the church looking for help, praying to God. Definitely she got better after about 9 months to a year. Now the illness appeared to be coming back. She went to church again. Then she saw one church member that we have treated before. I now told her, like, this thing don't fair do me before, go and see that doctor. Wow. That was how she came around. And so many a times the pastors themselves may not really know that this is actually an illness that can be treated. What I used to tell people is this: if you look at mental illness as a spiritual illness only, you will miss the mark. Jesus did not make any difference between epilepsy or the spirit of infirmity. It was the same way he rebuked fever from Peter's mother-in-law. That was the same way he rebuked seizure disorder or epilepsy from the child when he came down from the Mount of Transfiguration. It was the same way he rebuked the demons on the madman of Gadarene. All of them have spiritual basis according to the scriptures. They are all, in fact, like I was telling someone this morning, when Satan entered into Judas to go and betray Jesus, he did not develop any physical illness. He did not. Satan himself entered into him. He wasn't mad. He was still normal relating with people. So illnesses per se all can be regarded as the work of the devil, not just a mental illness. So when you have that broad categorization that you can, the way you pray for cancer is the way you also pray for those psychological illness. You can now have a basic approach to seek help when someone has all these illness. So far, it's malaria, take your drugs, let me pray with you. Oh, this is cancer, please see a doctor for treatment. Oh, you're having problem with your baby, okay, the baby's head is not down, it's turning, okay, quickly see the doctor, we'll still pray with you.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So in that way, we'll have a right approach to tackling mental illness. What we just see is that they believe that mental illness alone is the only demonic illness you can come across. Then you now miss the mark. Because like I used to say, mental illness alone will not kill you. Mental illness, is not a kill per se, but it can make your life miserable and useless, and losing touch. There are a lot of mad people that are on the street eating useless food, and even if they have diarrhea, you can't try what they eat. They are still there. It may not kill them, but it can make you miserable. So if we pay particular attention to all illnesses, the way Jesus saw them, we practice the scriptures, and then we'll not be able to say, fine, this person has a psychological illness, let's take him for treatment. We'll keep on praying. It will make a lot of difference than just locking them up somewhere or expecting things to get better, hoping that things will get better, or flogging them,
Oh my God!
Chaining them until the demons leave.
Using broom on some of them. Wow. Okay, thank you so much, Doc. Pastor Rich Spain. Talk to the women and the husband. We are on this family segment on how not to be so angry to the extent of saying, let me just kill this person, let me just kill this person. Can you just talk to them? A word of advice.
I particularly like this topic that we've been on, and we're going to flog it. We're going to flog it more, because this is a season where people get a lot of depression and bills you want to spend, and it's like the money's not there, and any little provocation you are like you want to do something funny. And I want to re-emphasize on something Doc said while he was talking. And I want to talk to women especially, and also men, because this time now we hear wives kill their husbands. We hear husbands kill wives too. When you're married to somebody and you see this person now behaving in a way you don't understand, like he rightly put, the anger, he used to be angry before, but not to this extent. She used to be angry, but not to this extent of attempting to pour hot soup, because she was stirring the soup while I walked by. I mean, talking about the husband, and I just made a statement formally. She would like, am I the one? And then we just talk words of mouth. But now she's not just using words of mouth. She made an attempt, even though that you blocked the pot of soup would have poured on you. That happened. The other time now, it was hot water. Then you have to talk to somebody. Like he rightly put, many of us will like, no, let's keep them inside the house, let's lock them. Oh, the shame, until somebody, there will not be a casualty, somebody die. It will not be your portion. Amen. So this season, please, that's why we are talking. Listen and try to do what we are telling you, instructing you to do, so that you have a beautiful Yuletide.
All right, thank you so much, Doc. The word concerning people always like shying away as against seeking for help, and where to go to seek for help when they are in such
I want to sincerely remind everyone at home that psychological illnesses are real. The leg is part of your body. When you have problem with your leg, you know you have a problem. Your knee, even a lot of women have problem with their private part, their abdomen. Some have problem with their breast, their chest, their neck, their eyes, their ears, their nose. The brain is also a part of the body, and you can also have a problem there. So it is not that when somebody has an abdominal problem, diarrhea, you look for Talazole, tetracycline. Then when he now has a brain problem, you will now start thinking of something else. No, the brain is also part of the body. They can be treated. I used to tell people that if you don't want to go to psychiatric hospital because of stigma, UBTH also have a mental health department. They have a lot of professors there. UBTH has a mental health department. You can go there also. They will attend to you. There are some private mental health facilities also in Benin that you can actually go to, and they offer you for fear of the stigma. But then you must be ready to pay the bills, because those ones are a little bit more expensive. So, but whichever way it is, don't just wish that the thing just go away. Seek help early, because once you get help early, no, you'll be happy you did.
All right, thank you, Dr. Osaitin Uwe from Uselu Psychiatric Hospital here in Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. Once again, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Pastor Rich Spain, our marriage counselor. It's always a delight to have you around. Thank you so much.
Always
All
my
right.
pleasure.
Daybreak continues after this moment.